welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to be talking about stylizing faces, and I'm going to be using the cast of Desperate Housewives as an example. I recently become a real fanatic for the show, and so I wanted to draw them, and this is the first time I've wanted to do fan art from a show, and I feel like I'm killing it. I don't typically draw older women, and I also don't typically draw real people all that often, so this is going to be a fun challenge for me. Let's get into it. Jumping in here really quick, I just wanted to talk about all the different girls' faces and how, how they change and everything, and like basically, when you're drawing something and you're supposed to be like when you're stylizing something, you pay attention to what it looks like and everything. So Susan is pink, I'm remembering, so I'm gonna annotate her face pink. I'm gonna lower the opacity and then delete all the other people because now you can see everybody beneath her. So lowering the opacity, I'm going to show you now. So what I notice is, her nose. This is the smallest brush size. You're lying. Particle size, I can turn that down. Yeah, okay. So what I'm noticing is that her nose is small and her nostrils peek out a little bit. So like, you see how she has this nub in the middle? Like, that's what I would say. I'd say she has big hooded lids as well. It's so hard to do this without my tablet. Her jaw and her chin are not strong at all, so it's like really undefined areas. Like, this jaw is not a strong jaw, this chin is not a strong chin, but yeah, this jaw and this chin are not strong. And then her cheekbones are like kind of high, and she might have like a small forehead. So those are the things I keep in mind when I'm drawing her. And then her bottom lip is more full than her top lip. That's another thing that I keep in mind. Now with this image and Lynette, all of her features are really, her eyes are kind of close together, and they have like they're downturned kind of. Her eyes are close together. Her nose isn't particularly small. I wouldn't say it's like extremely wide either. It's just button. Her mouth is also downturned. See that as well. And then she has a wider chin, sorry. And her jaw isn't strong at all either. And then her cheekbones aren't high. Her eyebrows are short because her eyes are close together, so they're not taking up that much space. And then she has a pretty big forehead, but she also has a widow's peak. So that's what I'm noticing when I draw Lynette. Catherine. Now Catherine, I really wanted to draw because of her cheekbones. I think it's interesting how her cheekbones look. So she kind of has these cheekbones, you see here? So Catherine's eyebrows are not as high arched. I think she has regular like almond eyes, I guess. Right? Her nose is pretty small as well. She doesn't have a thick nose bridge, and she has these lower apple cheekbones. You see this? Her cheekbones are like that. Her chin is pretty wide, and I'd say her jaw is really also pretty undefined. But one thing I'm gonna say is her forehead is small. Her cheekbones go out, so it's like small forehead, wide cheekbones, undefined jaw. Small forehead, wide cheekbones, undefined jaw, like that kind of shape. So yeah, small forehead as well. And yeah, this is the part that's indicating that to me, the side temple. That shows me a small cheekbones thing. Gabby. So I have not drawn Gabby at all. I've drawn everybody else except for Gabby. I really did bad at Susan, and it's because nothing is standing out to me. Like, everything is really more soft. And so Gabby, I'd say her nose is also pretty small. A little bit more upturned maybe. I think she has a full mouth. There's nothing that's like, her cupid's bow is maybe a little bit wide. she has a lot of cheekbone space, right? It's not big, high cheekbones or a lot, because you see, it doesn't dip in and go out. She has kind of a defined cupid bow. I say her chin is the most defined point, and her jaw as well. It's a little bit more defined, and her cheekbones are not as defined and not as wide. And then small nose, almond eyes, and arched eyebrows, but they're not a heavy arch, they're just trimmed really nicely, and a small forehead. So that's also what I have to keep in mind for Gabby, since I haven't drawn her yet. And then Edie is, everything is really strong about Edie's features, and the same thing with Bree, which makes them really fun to draw. But I think it made Bree the easiest to draw, and somehow Edie the hardest. I don't know. Edie's has a wide chin. You see, wide chin, strong jaw, strong cheekbones. It's not even like they're high, it's just they're defined. They're kind of on her face. And she has like a really straight nose bridge, really straight, no bumps, and small nose, small nostrils. I think she has this really defined cupid's bow. I think her eyes are kind of sunken in compared to her arched eyebrows, and her forehead is pretty big as well. So last girl, Bree. Bree is so fun to draw, in my opinion. So Bree, I think her nose and her eyes are close together. She has a lot of chin space. She has a pointier chin than the other girls, but not that pointy. Strong jaw, you see, and these cheekbones here. So strong jaw. I think her cheekbones are pretty defined as well. She has a pointier nose, but it's also really short, and then her eyes are really sunken in. So there's like a lot of bone. Sorry, the bone sticks out here, and her eyebrows are really arched. So sometimes I might even exaggerate the arch in the stylization, and then she also has a big forehead. I think her mouth is small and not very full and farther away from the chin. So you're gonna see that in these drawings that I did in my sketchbook. I think they're a lot better than the drawings I first did on my tablet, which I'll also show you. And yeah, I don't know. So let's get into it. I'm drawing 6 characters. I told you about the color coding. I think the only person who I really got right the first time around was Bree, and she's also the first person I thought I knew how to draw pretty well from the beginning. So yeah, I was like, everything I wanted to be really sharp. As the practice goes on, I think I lose a lot of my style and I start to mix and try to make a new one, which I feel like that happens when you're trying to develop new skills. So I was trying to draw hair differently. I was trying to see how I can draw mouths and, everything. So I actually really like this drawing that I did of her for the first time, and I showed you the reference. This one I'm not as big a fan of. I messed up a lot, and I think this is when I started bringing in, maybe this is it, maybe not, where I started bringing in the reference photo and like putting my drawing like over it, lowering the opacity, and then basically like trying to finagle all the pieces that way. Yeah, I don't know. It's like when I started off doing sketch, it looked right, and then when I filled in more of the details, it didn't look that right, and I think that I messed it up doing it, trying to do whatever I tried to do, I think I should have flipped the page more. See, yeah, you can see me trying to do it now, where I'm like, oh, well, all the pieces are messed up, so I kind of adjusted it by that, which isn't keeping with stylization, so that was a bit difficult. And then I also really messed up when I did Edie as well. I started to get really frustrated. Basically, I felt as though I was pressed for time, and I was almost there with what I was doing, but I wasn't exactly right. And so I kept doing the referral thingy, and I should have just kind of been trusting myself more. So I was starting a new program today, and because of that, I was really worried about my drawings, and I thought I needed to finish everything all in one setting. So these first ED drawings I did, but I wasn't satisfied with, and then yeah, I think I ended up redoing them, and I like them way more. And I was kind of trying to write everybody's name how I think they would write it, but also just messing around with my own stuff. I think Gabby should have been pink, but I made her purple because the color was darker when I was drawing traditionally. So when I drew Gabby, this is when I like really gave up, because it did not look like her at all in my opinion. Like very, very vaguely, but like also not at all. So I think I improved it much more on my second time around. It actually looks like her, and I'm like kind of satisfied with it, and I would like to draw her more. Oh, I just kicked my guitar. I would like to draw her more out of my own volition, but after being like, this drawing wasn't that bad, but it was just like when it came to the eyes, I started to mess up and I got annoyed. So yeah, and then I kept trying to draw her again, and it wasn't working. It was like the way that the most defined part was her nose, I think, and everything else wasn't, that was getting to me, and it just like, yeah, I was just messing up. So I just started over the next day. Catherine's drawings are really messed up. I hate them. I think they're the worst ones, and I'm really devastated. But I went to do Lynette, and I think I got her in my style, and then I also tweaked the next one, so that's more that's not exactly in my style, but like this one that I did first, I drew her with a bottle of alcohol, and then I put like a little caption, "I got booze," because I feel like she would say that, and she probably has throughout the show. And then I drew this next one where she's in her Scavo's Pizza uniform, even though she complained about that, and it was so stupid and funny at the same time. And so yeah, when I first did that drawing, I was like, something's wrong with the eyes. So I think I like pulled in the drawing, and then I think I made it better. And for her name, I like used crayon texture because I feel like her kids would have like messed up all her pens, and I'm thinking about like young Porter, Parker, and Preston, of course, and Penny too. And then yeah, I went from there. So I drew Edie again, and I used my, oh wait, did I say? So yeah, she's writing her name in crayon instead of pen like everybody else. Yeah. So then I used this drawing I had of Edie, and I tried to use that same reference pull thingy, but then I was like, you know what? I think this drawing might be closer to the reference than my drawing in my sketchbook was, and so keep going. And there's like enough resemblance that it looks like her. I think I did pretty good, and I think I also did good on this sketch as well, so I wasn't too mad at myself when I did this. I think Catherine is where I really messed up, and Susan I kind of messed up, but one of the references looks okay. So yeah, I mean, they both look like her, but the other reference feels so not good to me. So yeah, so Catherine is definitely the hardest. There's just a thing about her face shape and her eyes that I'm just not able to capture. I need to practice her more for sure, but I'm also trying to practice some other things as well. I have some ideas in my head about the other things I want to practice in my sketchbook, but this video is about stylizing, so let me keep talking about that. You see, I tried to pull up the reference again. It like looks like her, but there's something off, and I think it's the eyes. Maybe they're too close together. I don't know. But yeah, then I did this drawing as well. So everything, I'm just trying to not exaggerate it, but simplify it. I don't know when I shrunk the drawing down, and then it like just messed up the quality, and it was so annoying. I didn't shrink it down on purpose, so I don't know. Yeah, so when I was doing all these drawings, I'm trying to see all these shapes and like push them a little bit, but not too much, and then omit in other places, but because like most of my style is about omission, but omitting a lot of the stuff ended up looking weird. So yeah, so like this looks like Susan, right? But I don't like it. Like I just need to I don't know, maybe if I colored it. This drawing looks like Susan too, and it's definitely more my style. Like I feel like the eyes are bigger, and the nose, when I drew the nose, I think it looked really nice, and I feel like it just looks like her. It feels her essence, like I don't know, annoying. Sorry to say that, but she is, in my opinion. And these Gabby drawings look like Gabby too. So Gabby was the last person I drew, and I was really nervous, so I left her for last because Gabby, Bree, and Edie are my favorites actually. So I wanted to draw them the best, especially, and I wanted to draw Catherine because I wanted to draw her and Bree with a gun at the end of all this, like girls and guns, but I didn't end up doing that. So I ended up coming up with just all these studies and studying faces, and I think it was a good exercise as well to know that I can draw from reference still and like kind of in my style. And yeah, I don't know, I feel content with myself, and I'm excited for the rest of the year. Here are the final drawings. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, all that jazz. Check out my shop on Etsy. Thank you so much. Bye.